Action.
So we're back out here this morning. I already got to start on working on this. So the motor's out of the car, but I figured we had to record because if I didn't, there's still some doubters out there that this thing's all stock and that she trapped 700 wheel. So taking it apart, no, I'm not taking it apart because we had a huge failure. We're taking it apart because we found metal in the oil that's been there since the day we bought the car, and we know the inevitable is going to happen eventually. So we're going to go ahead and beat it to that. We're going to pull this thing apart today and kind of just look over everything. Now you can see it's pretty much a bare long block at this point, and if the wife takes a look and shows you in here, we still have factory head bolts are in the car. We never pushed coolant in this thing one time. It's been on 37 pounds of boost on that 62 mil FP0, and I just wanted to show you guys that we're not pulling your leg. This thing has never been touched. All the stock motor stuff you're seeing is real. If this thing didn't have the metal and the oil, then we would just go ahead and send it again this season. But you already saw what happened to VA bait over there. So, you know, if we continue to send this thing and we have a bearing failure, that's a lot more costly than it is to just go ahead and take care of it now. And we are going to look in the oil pan together to see if that is true and there is metal in there. And then we're going to look at the actual bearings, because we are going to pull this block apart. We're going to go through it and put it back together for our own specs. Something that we don't usually do, but I think it's going to be a pretty cool project. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these head studs out because it is ready to go. And my buckets down here are about ready to fall out. So pull these babies out. Then we can get a look at this cylinder as I drop the head here, because one-handed. Look at that, stock head bolts. No head studs, son of a bitch.
Got oil all over me. This is why I wore these jeans, because they're already oily.
Oh, that's a good thing. Oh, I forgot one stud. But let me pull this apart, sit on the ground.
Jesus.
Well, yeah, it's a messy job here. Taking a look at our gasket. I mean, I don't see any signs of it pushing.
She's mint.
So you can see how clean our cylinders are, because we've been running E85 in this car pretty much since we got it. So it's definitely cleaning up that cylinder there. But as far as the gasket goes, not anything too crazy. A little bit of wear right down here in that region, but nothing that has transferred to the coolant passageway, because you'd start to see a black exhaust line, and I'm not seeing it. So looks good on this side. Got one head off. You know, I had a time limit here, and with recording I'm not meeting my time limit. So
should we look at your time limit?
No, it's not, because we stopped to record. Oh geez,
You've
about died.
3 minutes.
I would have if we didn't have to record. See, this is why I don't record for you guys. I gotta get shit done and I record. It takes about 3 times as long. So
you said 10 minutes for both, and you're
yeah, I would if I wasn't sitting here talking to you.
On one.
I could have had the head off in a couple minutes.
You even got on my shoe.
Well, that's what you get, bud. That's what you get for not being here this morning too.
I was here the whole time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Bullshit, lies.
You didn't record nothing, so I was here the whole time.
You were not here. This thing's gonna pee everywhere. All right, I'm getting to work. I'm gonna get this other side off. Give you a short clip for today. We'll be back to tear this block apart. We're gonna take the heads in, do our normal hot tank, clean them, check them, and do a very minimal deck. Not that they really need it. You know, you could probably use the term I can't even think right now. She already got me going. Gasket swap them, but you could literally put these back on another motor because they didn't have any overheating issues. Just check the deck and make sure that they're flat. But other than that, it sounds like someone is here. So I'll go see. Then I'll get in trouble for more time.
Bye.
Bye. So the wife found out the nice thing of a lift, so she's down here wiping off her prized possession. So we're back after dealing with her ass.
Whoa.
And we're getting this short block all tore down. Shout out to my guys over at Cylinder Head. They were able to get the heads all knocked out for us and rebuilt. They did find that cylinder number 2 had pretty good leak down on the intake valve, so there's quite a bit of carbon there, so they just went ahead and did a valve job on them, rebuilt them, and they are all good to go. So they're right here, ready to go on. And I'm gonna beat your ass in about 2 seconds.
What's your language?
So now we can tear down the short block and see what kind of wear and tear we got here. And I need to clean up this mess. So let me clean this mess up, then we can pull this thing apart. All right, we got the oil pan off, and I'm not seeing any glitter in there. Did our oil drain pans lie to us this whole time? Pour it out here in the bucket. I don't have a light. You have a light?
It's a little glittery.
I mean, it definitely had full-on metal in it before. I mean, it sat with E85, so some of that on the bottom is going to be the condensation from E85. But, I mean, it looks pretty clean to me. What do you think?
Doesn't look terrible.
Well, I guess it continues until we get these bearings pulled apart in here, and then we'll get to see the true story. But the pan is looking like a good sign right now. So, might be rebuilding there for no reason. Son of a... There's no way. We saw so much metal in these pans. There's no way. So, well, it continues. I gotta pull the pickup off, get the baffle out of the way, pull the flywheel off, and then we can separate this case half and we can look at the bearings. We got a little bit better light in there. What do you see?
There's no flake.
There's nothing.
Nothing. Just a little there, but...
Is it actual metal?
No.
No, it's like built up. Let me see the light on the finger. I mean, there you can see glitter. Look at that.
Yeah.
Feel like it? It feels like it.
It's flaky, yeah. But not an excessive amount, though. I just think you really tell.
The bottom is probably very open. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ah, you found it. It's all on the bottom of the pan.
Yep. Just absorbed in there.
Well, we're not rebuilding it for no reason. Pull this thing apart. Let's see how bad these bearings are. All right. This is messy, so took a break. Got this thing separated, and hopefully this thing's focusing on the bearings, but the mains don't have a single bit of damage, wear, or any issues. I mean, you come over here too. Everything looks as it should. Crankshaft looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the rods off and show you guys what I find underneath there. But I mean, everything's the way it's supposed to be. Not feeling anything weird going on. So, what do you think the oil or the metal in the oil was from?
Couldn't tell you.
Well, let me pull these rods off real quick. All right, so I got these other rods off here, and number 3, same story. Just looks like you can see something went through the oil. Not anything crazy though. Other side of the bearing looks fine. And then looking at the main one here, this is number 2, and you can definitely see, like I said, there's like a line that goes through it in the center there. Other side looks fine. So that's all this. Obviously I just tore it down on the mat because it's tear down. But now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bolt this case back together. I'm gonna see what the bearing clearance is right now. And these things, I'm just gonna throw the bearings away because we're obviously not gonna use any bearings in here. We're gonna put new ones in. But I just wanna see where it's at right now with these bearings in here. So I'm gonna bolt this thing back together, check that out, and then we can move on to the next step of getting this thing all cleaned up, start setting our bearing clearances, and get it back together. All right guys, I just got done measuring this block, and our front journal, not too bad. It's about 1.5 thou to 1.7. And then we move farther back, and number 2 journal is definitely pretty far off. This is 3 thou. Then we have 2 thou here. Then we come back and it's 2.5 thou to 1.7. So we definitely have some oblong alignment going on here. Now keep in mind, these are used bearings. This is not really the way I would recommend measuring, but for my curiosity, I figured I'd go ahead and measure it the way it is. So now I'm gonna pull this apart. I'm gonna go ahead and open up some bearings, go ahead and try to get this thing where I'd like it to be. Now this is one of the main things why I don't like to do this to use motors, because I personally have seen it where the main line changes after the car is ran, and you're never gonna get it perfect, to be honest. And without machining it is the right way to do it. Now this is a personal motor. This is something we don't ever do. That's why you don't see rebuilding on our website. We only use brand new cases every time, or cases that have been machined. that is the proper way to do it. Now this one, we're gonna go through, I'm gonna see if I can get it to where I'm happy. If I can, then we'll go ahead and run this. If not, then it looks like your boy is gonna be buying a brand new case, and then I'll just be building a brand new motor at that point. Because getting this machined, I don't trust any machine shops around where I am. And you guys know we use Outfront Motorsports. And at that point, I would just put a proper motor in the car. So if I'm gonna ship this thing all the way over there, there's no reason why we wouldn't put a proper motor in the car, or just put another off-the-shelf RA short block from Subaru in it. So I'm gonna measure this, we'll see what happens. If it's too far off, then I guess we'll be putting a brand new RA short block in it for now. So let me go ahead and get some bearings out. It's gonna be a little bit of time, see what we can do. All right, bad way to end our night out. Put new bearings in it. Not the biggest change I'd like to see. We're still seeing, I got it down over here to 0.08, so not quite a thou. Then you move over to the second journal, we're still at 0.28 to 3 thou, so still definitely way out of line there. Here we're at 0.18 to 2 thou, so runnable. Then you move back, this one is at 2.5 thou, and then the rear main, or the thrust bearing, that one is down at 15. So definitely runnable on those, but this one being at 3 thou, there's just no way to fix that. I don't have another oversized bearing that's going to fix that here, and that's not really the way I would want to fix it anyways. So this is going to get scrapped, unfortunately, guys. So we're not going to build this one. It's just not the right way to do it. We're going to end up with an issue down the road. So did some testing on it here. This is a brand new set of RA pistons. This is what we were going to use in this when I put it back together. And I went ahead and checked the ring gaps, because I was pretty interested to see what our ring gap here was on a brand new RA block. There's no information about this, and these things are measuring at 12 on the ring gap. So definitely, you know, on the tight side. I checked the ones that were on the original pistons here, and they were 12 to 13. So definitely on the tight side. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the same thing as the LS guys do. We're gonna put a brand new RA block in the car, and we're gonna pull the pistons out and open up the ring gap. So you still get a brand new motor. More brand new than what I intended, but that is the right way to do it. And that is also why I say we don't do any rebuilds like that, because like I said before, we don't have a machine shop here we trust. And two, it's just not the way to do it for customer cars. I would rather use a brand new block or a brand new machine block that we get from Outfront, and that is the proper way to do it. So every customer car here gets a brand new block, and that is how we work. This, not the best way, not the right way to do it. Personal, so I figured give it another shot. This just further proves everything I've always said, where once they run, main lines change. That's the inevitable. This thing's obviously had abuse in its life, a lot from us, and who knows how much from the previous owner, because of the things that we have found with the car. So that's gonna wrap it up for this tonight. We'll pick this back up in the morning when we get that brand new block out. And I don't think this video is gonna be too long, so we'll end up just picking it up in the same video. And we'll pull those pistons out, we'll file the rings, open up the ring gap just like the LS guys would, and then we'll put that motor together and put it in here. So still gonna have a running car by Sunday is the plan. Today's Friday night, so maybe tomorrow night we'll do first startup.
There you go.
That's would be nice to see this thing all together. So I'm gonna wrap it up for tonight. We're gonna get out of here. I think it's about 8 o'clock at night. Been here quite a bit today, tearing this thing apart, but we have everything to put it back together. One thing to note, since this had metal in the oil, we're gonna make sure to get our pan all the way cleaned out. We won't be putting a Killer Bee pan or torque solution pan on it, so we're gonna use a stock pan pickup. Some of you might cringe at that, but we've never had an issue. Personal car, we're gonna use that. Obviously it's gonna get a new oil cooler and oil pump and go through everything, because we know there's metal in the system. So we're gonna get everything cleaned up, get this thing back together, and get you on the track. You blow it up, I'm pissed. So don't blow it up.
Nothing can be worse than your blow up.
Whoa! Have you had flames yet?
No.
That's right, you're not blowing up the right way then.
I plan not to.
Flames?
No flames.
We got a twin.
No.
What are you gonna do if it catches on fire?
Run.
You're gonna have to get out of your very confined seats.
True.
That'll be interesting to see. I can't wait to see her running out of the car.
You want me to crash the car and be on fire? It's a terrible thing to say.
I want you to go fast. I didn't say be on fire.
She's not gonna do much.
If it's on fire, it better be going fast.
She's not going that fast.
Oh. Hi. So, back out here next morning, and after sleeping on it, we made some decisions. And with those decisions, everything always escalates. How do you feel about this right now? You're probably happy.
I feel like it's Christmas.
Yeah, it's about more expensive than Christmas. So what we have here is a whole pile of new parts for RA. And we have Remy.
Hello.
Which you'll be seeing his car soon.
Yes.
He's over here for some stuff, which this is obviously not going to be here because I don't feel like going that far into it. But what we have here is an old pile block that is far out of mainline. So in our box here, we have a brand new RA motor, and I have some interesting stuff I'm going to show you between this one and that block when we get that opened up. But I made the decision that we're going to go ahead and put a set of forged pistons into this RA short block, and I know a lot of you are going to question that and wonder why, and there's probably going to be some drama down in the comments and online. You know, why are we not going to run just a straight RA block if we push them? Which you guys have seen, we have definitely pushed RA blocks for the cars that have come with them. Now, when you're doing another new engine in the car, we do not personally push them. I push you to do the right built engine for what power you're going for. Now, with that being said, yes, it would be fun to put an RA motor back in this car and send it, but with teaching the wife and her being a newer driver to drag racing, not saying that she's a bad driver, but things are going to happen during that time with learning. That means we're going to have misshifts, gear lockouts, over revving the car, you know, things happen. So with that happening and the power level this car is going to be at, it's inevitable it's going to break a piston or the motor. So I'm going to go ahead and just solve that so she can have a full race season in the car. That's what we want out of it. I don't want to be pulling this thing back apart halfway through the season when my shit's probably been apart 10 more times. I don't got the time for it. So what I have here is a set of drop-in Manley pistons. This will be the same as you find on our actual website here, doing a stage 2 block. So stage 2 in our terms is different than many of our other competitors out there. We all have our own stages that work good for marketing. That's the only thing that those are for. Now, stage 2 of this is a brand new OEM Subaru RA short block with a set of drop-in Manley pistons, and we file the rings to our own personal specs. That's what's going to be into this. It's still going to be stock rods, still going to be stock clearances in the bottom end. So, you know, may we find issues down the road? Yes, you can still find issues down the road where those clearances are too tight. And what that ends up doing is it eats the bearings over time at higher power. So, yes, it's could be an issue down the road, but I think with the FP Green Turbo and the power we're going for, this is a really good setup that will keep her on the track this year, and that's what we want. So that's why I'm going with these. I don't want to see you guys get too mad about it with the RA motors. We're still going to continue pushing the limits with the RA motors when they come factory in the cars, but when we're doing a motor in a car, it makes sense to do it right. And I was really battling myself on this. You know, there's a chance that the stock pistons would last just as long as these forged pistons, but in the event that it doesn't, and we have so much going on with the shop already, it doesn't make sense to do that. So we're gonna put these in it, and then I have a whole assortment of parts here that I'm really excited to show you guys. Something I've been meaning to show you guys for a while now, and I just haven't had time, is this awesome Torque Solution GTR coil pack kit. So I am going to be going more in depth in this later on in the video, but we have this Dan over at Torque Solutions was so nice to send us over, and we will be testing this product for him. You guys are able to get these now. They are listed for sale. These were sent to us prior to that, and I just haven't had time to get them on a car. So if you want to pick up a set of these GTR coil packs for your Subaru, just go ahead and look down in the bottom in the description there. What are you doing over there, bud?
Listing my turbo.
Ah, I already told him that you're selling it, so we'll see.
Oh, you did?
That video goes live maybe today or tomorrow.
What's that?
It goes live maybe today or tomorrow, so keep an eye on the comments.
All right.
Next up, what do we got here? We do have a set of Torque Solutions 100% solid motor mounts, since this is going to be a drag car. We have those. I have the engine mounts. They're actually over in the showcase. Then we have new Gates timing belt. You guys know this is what we use when we rebuild the engines. You know, at higher power, we will use like a HKS belt or an optional STI belt. That's what we like to use. Full OEM gasket kit, because obviously we know we're going to need that to put this thing together. And then another prized Torque Solution part here, which I'm going to unbox this more once we get this thing going together. So you're going to see all this stuff kind of come out. But again, Dan at Torque Solution. Made sure the wife was taken care of. Got her a full race spec Torque Solutions oil pan kit and pickup and race baffle. So yes, I was telling you guys we were going to use that factory pan there, but let's just be honest, it doesn't make sense, especially when we're going to be launching this car all the time. All the oil is going to go to the back of the pan. We definitely want to keep this engine alive with a much better pickup and baffle design. So instead of cleaning that thing out and getting all the metal out of there and having other issues, just decided to go ahead and scrap that. Dan said he would take care of me on this. I've already had one of these kits sitting aside for another project that's to come soon that you guys may see sooner than later. I don't know, we'll see. Every time I say it's gonna run, I end up buying another car, or something comes up to the shop, or the race car decides to explode itself into about 10 million pieces. So I'm not gonna say it's going together, but it was another project, and I'll let you guys kind of guess what that is, because it may come, it may not. Not sure yet. And if I tell you it's gonna come, then it doesn't, then you're gonna hound me. So let's get this stuff out of the boxes. You want to open up the block?
Let's open up the block.
Okay, well, let's grab you a razor blade. You guys will see what's in the box. This, again, is a brand new RA short block that my boys at Outfront are so nice to send us and take care of us on. Obviously, they take care of us with all of our engines, but they went ahead and rebox them and ship them out to me. So that's why this is not in a normal Subaru box. So the wife's gonna go ahead and open this thing up. Look at you, brand new motor.
Never happened.
No. Whatever, you got a million new motors.
I would get your used parts.
No.
Yes.
So opening her up away. Look how nicely packed this is. Ooh. You're gonna be able to pull it out?
No.
Are you sure? Because I don't pull out.
What?
Huh?
No way in heck.
You just gotta put your hand in the cylinder and pull her up.
Which side's the cylinder?
Well, that's definitely the oil pan side. Here, put your hand on the other side and go up.
Ooh.
I don't have a very good grip on it, so I hope you do.
It's on my toes.
Well, put her on the... You got it?
Stuck.
Okay. Well, you know, I would tell you technically to put it on the table.
I'm not that strong.
Remy, you want to assist? This is why I can never record, guys. I only one person. Now I got these two here that are going to drop this motor and scare me. All right, go ahead and open her up for us. Then we'll get to show you an interesting fact here. I haven't ever seen you this eager. Here.
Thanks.
Before you cut yourself with our homemade razor blade.
I know.
Foreshadowing a bit, if I had known what I was going to be doing here, I would have bought just an OEM case and we would have used these rods and we would have done a Ford piston rod motor, but here we are, short notice, and I have an RA block, a couple of these in stock. So,
It's the same.
wow, it does look a little bit the same. 706 case though. These things usually are very clean casting on these RA blocks. One thing to note is this car here is a true RA STI, so obviously it should have an RA. Really starting to feel like Christmas over here.
Yeah, there's more and more parts keep showing up.
So here we have almost everything laid out. The only thing I don't have over here is the other engine mounts and the rear diff cradle. But as you can see here, we have this all laid out so you guys can see everything. Our beautiful Torque Solution oil pan set up here with the seal in it. So nice to use. And this does have their race baffle kit and race pickup. So that's what we're gonna be doing with this car, is drag racing, so that is a necessity. Obviously you can see we have the solid engine mounts there. This is a trans mount, this is the pitch stop mount. Engine mounts are next door. I will grab those. Moving back over here, oil pump, oil cooler, obviously a necessity for anything that's had metal go through it. I already told you about the timing belt. We just need the belt. We're going to reuse all the stuff on here because this thing only has 18,000 miles. Everything looks to be normal and in spec. Our gasket kit, you guys just saw that. And we have the GTR coil packs for Subaru. So this is a big thing that Torque Solution came out with. I'm really excited to work with them on testing these, and what better car to test these on than a car that's going to be racing all the time. So You may ask, what is the point of doing these, or why should you do these? And the answer is pretty simple. If you can get better spark, that means you can open up your plug gap. If you can open your plug gap up more, that means better drivability, more power, and all around just a better driving car. So these are a definite necessity if you're looking into the high power region, or even your daily driver. You know, if you can open up that sparkle gap and get a little bit better driving car, why not? So like I said, these are linked down below. If you want to get your own set, they are now listed for sale. You'll be seeing how these go on later on in this video, and how exactly all these go together. So there is some tuning involved if you do get these. So just know that if you are putting these on your car and you already have had it tuned, you will need a revision from your tuner to go ahead and update the dwell settings for these to go on to your car. So just know that there is tuning involved with these. Don't just put them on and wonder why you're not getting benefits. So that covers all of this. Like I said, I got to get to work because we're going to pull these all stocker pistons out and get the new ones in, and we can actually get to work. And we're running quite a bit behind. I was trying to have this thing full long block by noon. We got an hour. So
Half an hour.
half hour? Oh boy, we're getting to work. I'll record once we get these things out of here and the new pistons in.
I don't think they running at my pace. Jordan 1s, gotta keep them laced. If she bad, I might have to get a taste. Whip go vroom, I'll set them on a chase. I don't think they running at my pace. Jordan 1s, gotta keep them laced. If she bad, I might have to get a taste. Whip go vroom, I'll set them on a chase. That's the way. I said I'ma do it, I'ma get it anyways. All I do is work, I got this money on my brain. I don't like to talk, I just got way too much to say. They been trying to get me, I'ma get them out of the way. I said I'ma do it, I'ma go and get it.
So we are definitely making progress. I already got the other side together and done. Figure I'd show you this side. Now I get this question a lot. What head gasket do we use on our engines? I've made a whole video on this before, but just going over the topic again. You know, on anything of our motor, stage 3 and lower, stage 3 just being a piston rod motor, and as you can tell here, this is just a normal case. So anything that's not closed deck, I think is a better way to determine that. Anything not closed deck, we use an OEM factory STI head gasket. So that's what we have here. And on RA, we are using the OEM head bolts. Now, a lot of you may veer away from them. We've proved time after time that these things are holding a lot of power for factory head bolts. In fact, they are holding more than the ARP 2000 head studs that go in here. So instead of putting ARP 625s in this thing, we're just going to go ahead and leave the stock head bolts in it for being a stock rod motor. That should be plenty fine for this. So that's what we're going to be using, and I just wanted to go over that. You know, here is the head studs that were, or sorry, head bolts that were out of this. That's what we're using here. So I got those, put those back in, and I am getting this thing all together. So I'm going to continue with progress, getting this thing into a lawn block. Once this thing's in the lawn block, we then can go ahead and drop it in the car, and the wife can take over. Yeah. And then you got Remy working in the background, pretending to be a mechanic. Pretending. Bam, other head is on. Now we have a bare lawn block here that we can go ahead and now continue to put together. Now, when you're putting these things together or taking them apart, have you ever wanted something where you didn't have to deal with sealant? Because that's what we're doing now. With the torque solution pan, it has a nice O-ring in here, so you never have to deal with sealant on the pan again. Isn't that nice?
So fancy.
You just dealt with sealant on your motor over there.
Came off like a champ.
Not like usual, but this is such a nice feature. Shout out to Torque Solutions for putting this O-ring on there, because for motors that do come apart for racing, it is very nice. You just unbolt, remove.
That's really nice.
So we are going to get this thing all set up, but before we can put this on, we're going to need to get our race baffle put in here. So these things are kind of a chore to put on. A little bit of the right tools, but as you can see, it definitely looks very nice in there. So what we're gonna have to do is have to get down into there for a bolt. Up here, there's a couple. There's one there, and I believe there's one underneath over here. That's a fun. Nope, it's not there. It's just these two front ones. So we'll put that on. I'll show you where the bolts are, and then we'll have an oil pan on. Then we can move on to the next step. Wow. Continually making some progress here, and just to show you guys how this assembly goes together, there is indeed the one bolt back there, You're gonna have one for each side of the pickup with the spacers, and you're gonna have your 2 bolts up front with the spacer as well, as you can see there. So that is all together, all done. We're now officially time for the oil pan, which the wife is putting on. Bam. So now she's gonna get that thing all tightened down. Meanwhile, while she's doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and get all our sensors on the bottom of the motor, get the whole bottom of the engine together, and we can move on to the top side. Just about ready to put this thing back in. Not too shabby. Definitely cheated, you guys. I had lunch, didn't leave. Wife brought me lunch, so we did not get the motor together before lunch, unfortunately. But it's still about 2 p.m. right now, so we're not doing too bad. If we can have this thing in the car by at least 5 p.m. tonight, that'd be awesome. So let's see what happens. All right, the wife's just prepping the oil pump, get that thing on the motor, but this thing is looking very complete now. Last thing that we need to do is obviously get this oil pump ready to go on the engine. We're getting that all primed up right now, getting it ready, and then we can time the motor. After we time the motor, this is how we are going to be putting it in. The turbos interfere here quite a bit, so we usually go ahead and clearance that a bit for the turbo. Those would be like an FP 3-inch housing. That's where we have to clearance there. So good chance we're gonna have to clearance this block before it can go in. We'll put it in without the turbo because it's gonna be a lot easier than if we were to put it in with the turbo. And then after that, we can get the scene all together. Remy's working away in the background, having fun.
Oh yes.
He's my teardown bitch right now. Bam, there we have it. We have our complete lawn block together. We still need to put the turbo on and test it to see if we got a grind here, which I'm about 99% sure we are going to have to. But thanks to the wife, we got the scene all together. Started the scene today at noon, and here we are at 4:30 in the afternoon with the new forged pistons already in, motor built, ready to go in the car. So I say we're doing pretty good. I think we'll have it in by 5, depending on...
Tonight.
Yeah, it should be running tonight. We have to go get oil and coolant though before they close. So, but depending on that turbo is what's going to be if we get it in by 5 or not, because I think it's actually a little later right now. It's 4:44, so probably not. Probably be like 5:30, but we're still somewhat on track. So we're going to go ahead and put the up pipe on now, and we're going to test fit the turbo before we put it in. That way I don't have to grind this thing in the car to make things a bit easier, because obviously it's not fun to grind with a brand new engine here and a bunch of holes open. So we're going to cover everything up, tape everything up, and then grind that if we have to. So I'll show you guys when we're done. This is what it looked like on the last one. So you can see it's not terribly much, but it's definitely some to angle that out and to get some more clearance for the turbo. So, ready?
Yeah.
All right, definitely making progress. We definitely did have to grind into the block. So we have plenty of clearance there. The turbo is not sitting all the way down, so that's why it's looking like there's a large gap, but in reality there's a very small gap when that thing goes down. But one thing I want to show you guys that we are testing on this car that I told you is these new Torque Solution coil packs. So these are GTR coil packs that are retrofitted to work with the EJ engine. And they come with this nice plug and play adapters, everything you're going to need to go on. Very straightforward and simple. One thing I will note for you guys when you are putting these in is that you will have to jack your engine up. So that's why normally, you know, I don't put the spark plugs in the engine when we put a brand new engine in, because we want to prime the engine over. But since we have these on here, I'm feeling lazy today. I've already primed my oil pump. I know this thing's going to get oil pressure immediately. I went ahead, threw them on here. We'll still crank and prime the engine over, but not normally how I would do it. For those of you just putting coil packs on your car, then you would just jack up your engine. You'd be able to get these in and be able to work on it. Now, I haven't tested that theory on the VA chassis. It's just what Dan at Torque Solution told me. So if we ever have to pull these things out and change our gap on our spark plugs, then we'll figure that out and I'll fill you guys in. But wife's holding very closely her Exetti triple disc that she somehow got to keep on this thing. Definitely a little bit overkill for the power of this thing, but
she's nice.
Best driving clutch money can buy right there. So now we are ready to get that on here, not just that piece. We got to get the flywheel on, put the whole clutch assembly on the car, and this thing will be going back in. As you can tell, we're on the engine hoist right now, ready to go. So let's get this thing on and get this thing dropped in. After a couple hours later, the most tedious part of all is getting it all the way in the car, getting everything set up, making it look pretty, make it back to the way it was. So here we are, all back in. All the fluids are in the car now. Wife just got done adding the oil in. We're just gonna go ahead and put the battery in. Then we're gonna unhook the crank sensor and prime the system, get oil through everything. Obviously, since we primed that oil pump, should be pretty quick, easy process. About 2 10-second cranks and it should be ready to go. So I am going to pull up the map and correct it for the new coil packs. I got to change some dwell settings in there real quick that Torque Solution does already supply when you buy those. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at that real quick, change that, revise it, and yeah, we can do first fire up on this thing. Ready?
Ready.
Okay, let me pull up the map.
Need a battery.
Oh yeah, where's the battery?
I don't know.
It's right there. I gotta fit my big ass in here somehow. Oh Jesus! Why did I ever let you put these seats in here? I can't even get in the damn car. This is bullshit. Ouch! Ouch! Oh God! If you could only see how crunched I am. All right. There, we gotta prime the system. You want to watch for leaks? We're watching for our oil light right in the center there. Oh yeah, she's picking up speed. And we'll do it again. Bam. No more oil light. Alright, we are primed. How are we looking out there?
Great.
Alright, let me plug this crank sensor back in. And I gotta clear my code from that. So let me do that real quick and then we'll do this first startup. Alright, you ready? Alright, it is E85 in here, so give it a break for starting up. See. Ah, not bad for first startup. I wonder why we have a check engine light though. Ah, I know why. We need to plug our intake temp in still. Forgot about a sensor. You want to plug the one in on the intercooler pipe and we'll take 2 this. Let's see, I might have to go out there and grab it real quick. Alright, that's all it was that intake temp. I know it's really dark in here. So I just didn't plug it in when I had put the intercooler pipe on. So I went ahead and cleared that code. As you heard, the car still fired right up, as it would. Sometimes you'll get some issues because it goes to negative 40 degrees coolant temp. But being E85, obviously if it's negative 40, it dumps more fuel. So it just helped to start up. So here we go again. Take 2. There we go. Fire right up. Now I'm turning on the heat in here because I'm going to bleed the coolant system. So now let's go out there and make sure everything looks good. That's habit. Oh Jesus, I can't even get out of this fucking seat. Bam. What do you think? Good job, you did it all. No, really guys, she definitely killed it. I'm proud of her. She did at least 50% or more of the work on this thing to get this thing back running. So give her some credit down in the comments, guys, because she worked her ass off to get this thing together, and I'm proud of her. So here we are, guys, running. I'm gonna let it get up to full operating temp, lead the coolant system, and then from there we can start going to drive the thing tonight. Like I said, we got a cars and coffee meet tomorrow, and boy does it look like this camera is really, there you go, a little bit better. You can see it glare. All right, excited? Looks like we're making that cars and coffee meet, maybe. Don't jinx us yet. Gonna make sure there's no leaks. I'm gonna look over the scene real quick in depth, and then as soon as we're wrapping up, I'll end this video out for you guys.
Living life up in the fast lane. Hey. Living life up in the fast lane. And I ain't slowing down, I ain't slowing down, I ain't slowing down. Living life up in the fast lane. Pedal to the ground, pedal to the ground, pedal to the ground. Living life up in the fast lane. Life, throw you lemons, you just put them in Coronas. Coronas, Coronas. I've been working, I need that advance with the bonus. The bonus, the bonus. Ain't no thoughts about tomorrow, I'm just living in the moment. The moment, the moment. Full tank of gas and 200 on the dash, bitch, I'm zoning. I'm zoning, I'm zoning, fast lane. Living life up in the fast lane. Ay. Living life up in the fast lane. And I ain't slowing down, I ain't slowing down, I ain't slowing down. Living life up in the fast lane. Pedal to the ground.